When I think about how I moved from understanding interpersonal racism and made that jump to understanding structural racism, I like to think of a story or think about housing and how that plays out. And I like to use myself as the example. So I like the idea of living in a multiracial community so that my children can get to know lots of different people and feel comfortable in all these different cultures and be able to go out into the world comfortable with that. But on the other hand, I'm also challenged because I really need my child to have a really good education. And so in order to have a good education, they need to live in a neighborhood where they can go to a good school. And a good school is determined by how much income, how much tax that school is able to collect. And so I then find myself in this position where my aspirations are pitted directly against another set of aspirations. So I have my desire for a multiracial society, and I have the desire for my child to have a strong education. And I have to make choices about that. So then say I make the decision to buy a house in a good neighborhood so my child has a good education. Chances are that neighborhood is less racially diverse. And then that means that my child will not have the same kinds of interracial experiences growing up that I had living in a city where when my parents had fewer choices that were related to my father's immigration status, or not status, but the fact that he was an immigrant, and that it was harder for him to find good work, which limited where we could live. And so that's where I see the structural racism starts coming into play, is that I can personally have one set of aspirations. I may value racial diversity, but given that wealth and access to schooling is so closely linked to home ownership in this society, I don't have to be racist in the traditional sense of the word of not liking somebody who's not like myself to actually be carrying on that tradition.